Good evening. I guess I haven't talked here in the first 30 seconds or however long it's been. Hello. We're live. Give me a second to do the normal tweeting and buzzing and blinging, and I guess I don't really post this stuff on the Instagram or the Facebook or the others. But the YouTube and the Twitters and those are the main two in my eyes. So thanks for being here. Glad you could be here. Yeah, let's see. I think I'm good. Yeah. David, welcome. Pastel Ninja K, welcome. All right, there we go. So, how's everyone doing? Pastel Ninja K obviously happy with the Denny Hamlin win, being a big Denny Hamlin fan. What was I looking up? I was looking something up. So, okay. Hello. Good evening. Good morning. Afternoon. Wherever you are. We're starting a couple minutes early here, so that's nice. But yeah, Gateway, Wide Technology Raceway, St. Louis, whatever you want to call it. It's fine by me. I usually just go with Gateway. Just sounds better to me. Even though I don't know. I don't want to get into the complications of the racetrack's name. Hello, George. Yeah. No, I shoulda, coulda, woulda, I guess. I mean, if they broke the rules, I mean, I feel like I'm pretty consistent with disqualification. If you broke the rules, you got disqualified, then that's that. There's no real big thing. And, you could make the argument that, oh, it wouldn't have made a difference, or, oh, it was the slightest difference. I'm not a technical expert. I'm not a mechanical expert. That was 3 years ago now, so Denny Hamlin still one short of 60, but hey, he ended up getting Toyota's 200th. And Pastel Ninja K, you gotta think about it this way: if Denny doesn't get disqualified at Pocono in 2022, Chase Briscoe ends up being Toyota's 200th winner. So the trade-off is you don't get 60 as soon as you want, but Denny Hamlin gets to be Toyota's 200th winner. So you got that going for you. John, welcome. Somebody needs to pray for Bowman. Yeah. Let's come over here to the points. I know we're making our Monday picks at the end of the show, but I gotta say, man, this is probably it. The fact of the matter is Barry or Bowman got to win. I could see one of them winning, but it's still like a long shot. It's going to be really hard to beat Larson and Hamlin at Bristol. SVG, you look at the 15 points, and sure, that's not a lot, but do you remember what he did at Bristol in the spring? It's better if you forget. And then Austin Dillon. Austin Dillon's only 11 points out, which is not horrid. It's not bad at all. Like, if Austin Cindric crashes in stage 1 or something, like, Austin Dillon's advancing. But if we're being realistic, Austin Dillon is not going to beat Austin Cindric by 11 positions. It's just not going to happen. So more than likely, these are the 4 getting cut. But you never know. Crazier things have happened at Bristol. And also, we got a new right side tire that's supposed to have some fall off potentially. It's really early, but I feel like doing it now. It's announcement time. I'm going back to Bristol. That's right. That's why I wore the Bristol hat tonight. So I'll be at Bristol the entire weekend. Should be fun. Should be exciting. Should get to cover the race. Trying to figure out some of the specifics of what I'm doing. But yeah, I'm going to be there. So I guarantee you that. Leaving tomorrow. So SVG fans, the SVG recap is going to be a little rapid fire tonight. Did not get a chance to watch the full recap. So it'll be a very condensed version. I was kind of prepping for the Bristol trip. So anywho, back to the comments. So John last said somebody needs to pray for Bowman, so we came over here to the points and looked at him. Born Again Briar, welcome. What everyone's worst Gen 7 season so far? I would say it's 2023. 2024 is the best, then 22, then 25, then 23. It's a valid question. Oh boy. Worst Gen 7 season. So that first season, we had all the parity. We had all the newness to it, and it was exciting. And like that first Vegas race, I remember, probably because I was there, but that was a fantastic race. It was so exciting. All the different people up front, the great battle between Kyle Busch and Truex at the end, and then, of course, Bowman stealing the win. Chastain led a bunch of, and like 2022, that was like when everyone could produce like fast cars. Like Eric Jones won at Darlington. Chastain won a couple races, made the Final Four. Daniel Suarez won a race. Like, we had a lot of things happening that it was like almost overstimulating in like a really good way. So 2022 is definitely not that worst Gen 7. 2023 was a little bit more tame. The biggest thing in 23 was we had Elliott and Bowman missing the playoffs because of their injuries. Yeah, I would say that's the weakest of the four that we've had so far. 2024 was great. I thought 2024 is probably one of the better seasons of NASCAR I've watched. I know people will complain about dirty air, all this random stuff, but there was so much that happened in 2024. We had the 3-wide finish at Atlanta, the photo finish at Kansas. We had the spring Bristol race, which was just pure insanity. Fall Martinsville race was really, really good. We had some of the unpredictability of the Daytona Fall race. Both Darlingtons were fantastic. I could go on and on about 2024. So I would say 2024 is the best, but I would say 2023 is the worst, to answer your question. Hello, Micah. Zero Apex, Sean, In Between the Lanes, Jamie, hello. I'll get to everything. I just want to say hi to everyone first. What do you think about Christopher Bell going Kyle Busch on the radio after? Dude, that was like out of nowhere. So if you missed it, I think NASCAR posted a censored version. Christopher Bell said some bad words on the radio, which in NASCAR, like, it happens. It's whatever. But it's how he was so animated. Let's see if I have it on here. I do have it on here. Or I should say NASCAR has it on here. So here's the radio from Bell.
Check flag, P7. We just are in 7th with the best car on the track. Every week it's the same. We're the last car to pit road. I'm over it. I hear you, buddy.
So I'm no language expert or tone expert or whatever, but I think Christopher Bell's upset. Now, think about it from Christopher Bell's perspective. They had a really good car at Gateway. They only led I don't even know if they led a lap. So they finished 7th, didn't lead a single lap. Had a really good car, but as I said, never led a single lap. Christopher Bell has not won since the 3 in a row back in March. So it's a little bit of a long winless streak for Christopher Bell. They've had a little bit of ups and downs since that 3-win race streak. Points-wise, they are in a good position, but you got to remember what they went through last year after finishing 2nd at Vegas and having a good homestead just to get eliminated at Martinsville with the controversy. So there's been a lot, I guess, with that team. I think they've had a couple of spotter changes. So I think it's just frustration boiling over, heat of the moment, and sometimes you just got to let it out. They've had good speed at times over the summer, over the last few months. It just hasn't been put together as consistently. So yeah, I don't think there's much to it. Maybe there's more that I'm thinking of, but yeah. George Jones says, Vikings, Bears. Who do you got? Oh boy. Bears, I guess. Bears are winning right now, so I'm going to stick with them, even though they're only up by 4. Pastel Ninja K says, get Hocevar for 2027. Give him 2 to 3 years, depending on how Zilisch adjusts to the Cup Series. If Zilisch is good, give him the 48. Everyone wants to get rid of Bowman all the time. I think Bowman's doing fine. I mean, right now, this round, he's not doing fine. But, yeah, he's had a horrible start to the playoffs. Bowman, it's not even like Barry's wrecked the first 2 races. And sure, one of them was his fault. The other one wasn't. And you can say, oh, just a terrible time to go cold. Bowman, they've just straight up been bad these first 2 races. Bad pit stops, bad speed. what a horrible time to go cold. So, unfortunate that they're going cold at this time. I don't think he's going to get replaced this year. I don't think he's going to get replaced next year. But, of course, people enjoy talking about that. Zero Apex, that's a good question. I guess he's doing all right because he's still winning races. Connor Zilisch, despite the unfortunate accident with the broken collarbone, is still leading a lot of laps, still winning races. Still, he wins the regular season championship. He wins his bazillionth race in the last 6 weeks. Yeah. So Zilisch has a full race entering this first round of the playoffs. The Xfinity playoffs are starting at Bristol, by the way, if you didn't know that. Jamie, I hope you get feeling better. Cloudy 341 Blade, hello, welcome. I'm sure you're happy about the results this weekend. Pastel Ninja K says 2025 Bell equal to 2024 Hamlin, in the sense that I'm assuming that they had 3 wins really early in the season and then they didn't do anything else the rest of the year. That's what I'm assuming. Which former champion do you see making the round of 4? That's a good question. Let's see here. Oh, no, I want this one. Okay, so Larson's a former champion. Blaney's a former champion. Elliott, Logano. That's it. So I guess we all got 4 choices. Who do you think is the most likely champion? In fact, that's going to be a poll question. We're starting a poll. Add option. We got 4. All right. Which former champion is most likely to make the final 4? And we're just going to go in points order right now. So that's going to be Kyle Larson, Ryan Blaney. That's funny that those 2 are together after what happened on Sunday. Chase Elliott. And finally, Joey Logano. Start poll. It took a long time to load. I was a little concerned it wasn't going to work. I would say Blaney, just because the tracks line up better for him. Yeah, I'll go Blaney. It's a pretty boring, straightforward answer, but Blaney, we're going to go with that one. 48 team needs a change, be it like a pit crew or a crew chief. Rodney could be a good choice. Billy Scott and Charles Denick. I don't think, you see, Pastel Ninja K, okay, so you added a little footnote there. So if 2311 goes out of business, then obviously Charles Denick and Billy Scott could be options, but yeah, I don't think that they're going to get poached by Hendrick. I mean, they could, like, it's possible, I guess, but I don't see that happening. I don't even know who you would put on the 48 pit box. Like, you could do, so many times with these big organizations, we see pit crew swaps or we see crew chief swaps. Like, they could flip Gustafson and Blake Harris and see what happens, or they could move Blake Harris somewhere else in the organization. They could promote an engineer. You could go what they did with Blake Harris, which is they could go hire externally. They could go to another team and try to hire an up-and-coming crew chief. Like, there's a lot of options, I guess, but we'll see what they end up doing. I don't know if they're going to do anything. They may ride it out for another year. Cloudy 341 Blade says Denny is getting 60 Saturday. It's possible. I mean, Bristol in the next-gen car has been great for Denny. He's got 2 wins at Bristol in the next-gen car. Finished second to Larson in the spring. I think he finished second. Yeah, it's very possible. Someone from Bell to Cindric will stumble. I think Austin Dillon will make the round 12. He has Richard Boswell looking out for him in the point strategy. Yeah, no, that's Born Again Breyer brings up a good point. Boswell made a really good call there at the end of stage 2 when they realized it was going to be a one-lap shootout. Even though they had old tires, even though they were like 30th on speed, stay out there. It's a one-lap shootout. Hope a caution comes out in the one lap, or just hold off at least 5 or 6 guys, however many you got to hold off, and score maybe a stage point. They ended up scoring 5 or 6 from that. So, yeah, they knew they were going to finish 30th. They knew it was going to be an awful points day. You're not really throwing away your day by staying out and getting 5 or 6 stage points. So that was a fantastic call by Boswell to keep Austin Dillon out there. Now, obviously, the rest of the day was a day to forget, but that call alone ended up being a pretty good call. Cameron says Penske doesn't seem to be their old selves. Not see any of them winning the title this year. Yeah, that's because, we talked about heading into Gateway, how Penske is so good, so dominant. Like, it's going to be disappointing if they don't win. Well, they didn't win. And not only that, the laps led. Blaney led 5. Logano led 2. Cindric was not seen all day, and he led 0 laps, scored 0 stage points, and finished 19th. Like, that was a very forgettable day for Penske, ironically. After all this talk about how good they are at Gateway, how much they own Gateway, this playoff schedule is perfect for Penske because of the short, flat tracks. First one we get to, they still had 2 cars in the top 5, so we can't call it a failure, but, 75 led by, Joe Gibbs Racing, Toyota, if we just go to Toyota, 90 plus 73 is 163, 164. That might be it on their laps led. They lead 164 of 240 laps. Like, Toyota's just been killing it in the playoffs here to start it. So, yeah, Toyota's been killing it, as I said. Cameron says Bowman out, Reddick in for Hendrick. So this is where silly season this year has been very bland, very boring. Denny Hamlin was the biggest free agent, and everyone knew that he was going to sign a deal with Gibbs. Like, that was pretty open and shut. We all knew there was the possibility of Daniel Suarez not returning to Trackhouse, another 1-year deal, back on the hot seat. Connor Zilisch up and coming. Like, we all could kind of see that one coming if Suarez didn't up his performance this year. We all kind of knew this was going to be a silly season. Now, if 23XI and Front Row Motorsports lose the lawsuit, that's where it completely flips around, and it's an explosive. It's a wow, what in the world? Like, Tyler Reddick's a free agent. Bubba Wallace is a free agent. All these other drivers are free agents. I would say those 2 are the biggest out of the 6 that are currently driving for those 2 teams. So if it truly comes down to it and those 2 teams do shut down, that's a lot of offers are going to come in for Tyler Reddick, whether it's Hendrick, whether it's Penske, whether it's Gibbs has a pretty solid lineup right now. You may argue that Ty Gibbs hasn't lived up to the hype yet, but he's Joe Gibbs' grandson. Don't really see that changing. But Hendrick, tough decisions happen, and Reddick versus Bowman, sure, I think they can make that decision. Looking over at Penske, Cindric's won a race this year and everything, but picking between Cindric and Reddick, so I think that could definitely spice up the silly season, but I don't want to see it. I don't want to ever see race teams shut down, and a team owned by Michael Jordan being in NASCAR is so cool. To lose it this quickly would be so sad. Please don't. Please no. Don't do that. NASCAR teams, can we just get along again? I don't want to see a scenario where those 2 teams shut down, and I also don't want to see a scenario where NASCAR loses this lawsuit and then all of a sudden they go and change everything and they potentially make teams more mad with whatever they do, or they have to sell off assets that they've actually done a really good job of maintaining, and then those assets go to bleh. So it's a lose-lose situation, I feel like. Oh, yeah, thank you for bringing this up, Jamie. I did not talk about this on Friday. So Haas Factory Team is going back to Chevy. Well, they're going to Chevy. So, long story short, Stewart Haas Racing was a team. In fact, I wrote an article for Go Full Throttle about Stewart Haas Racing's final victory. So if you want to go read that, it would mean a lot if you went and read that. So, yeah, I'm putting it in the comments here. Go check that article out. So, anywho, Stewart-Haas Racing, they were a Chevy team for so long, and then they switched over to Ford in 2017, I think. 17 was their first year with Ford. They stuck with Ford. They've been with Ford. Then Stewart-Haas Racing shuts down. Gene Haas, half owner of the team, retains one of the charters, starts up Haas Factory Team. They're going to stay with Ford. They're going to put Cole Custer in the Cup car. They're going to keep the Xfinity program as it is. Put Sheldon Creed and Sam Mayer in the cars. Well, then a year in to Haas Factory Team, or not even a year in, we're only like 7 months, 8 months in, they say, actually, we're going to go over to Chevy. So, back to our roots, back to where Stewart-Haas Racing started, even though we're a separate entity now. So, Haas Factory Team's going to Chevy, which I have questions about. Mainly because the biggest one is the Xfinity thing. They were the team for Ford in the Xfinity series. There's Ryan Sieg Racing, or whatever its official name is, and then there's AM Racing. Those are the two other Ford teams. Haas Factory Team, Stewart-Haas Racing, was the Ford team once Team Penske shut down their Xfinity operation. So, why did they abandon Ford? And then on the Cup side of things, they have an affiliation with Hendrick again. They're going back. They're going to be a Hendrick affiliate team or whatever, but I just don't get it. If you're going to switch manufacturers right now, why would you not wait out a Dodge who's probably coming in the next 5 years? Why would you not try to wait out? There's been rumors of Honda coming into NASCAR. Why would you not wait out a Honda and try to kind of move up the rankings of your manufacturer? Like Haas Factory Team right now, if we're looking at Ford teams, they're not above Penske, not above RFK. They're not even above Front Row, so they're fourth. Throw in the Wood Brothers, they're fifth. They're fifth out of the Fords, and if we go to Chevy, they're not above Hendrick. They're probably not above Trackhouse. They're not above Trackhouse. I'll just straight up say it. Not above RCR. Not above Colleague. Like, you're back to fifth in line. Why wouldn't you want to be second or third in the Dodge line? If Colleague goes over to Dodge, why would you not be like second to Colleague? Why would you not try to be the first to Honda? I don't know. I just have a lot of questions as to why, as to what advantages it gives them as compared to now. They're no longer the number one team in Xfinity for their manufacturer. They're still pretty low on the totem pole for their Cup team. Like, what am I missing here for Haas Factory Team and their switch from Ford to Chevy? When did SHR switch from Chevy to Ford? I think, as I said, I think that was 2017 because they won the 2017 500 with Ford. Jamie says, did you hear Denny bringing up eventual retirement after he won? Do you make anything about his words on retirement? I mean, I think he's pretty open that this last contract is his last deal, and this last contract takes him to the end of 2027. So the 2027 finale at Homestead, Phoenix, wherever it may be, that's Denny Hamlin's last race. Or at least as a full-time driver. He could drive for himself at 2311. But yeah, I think it's pretty straightforward that 2027's it. At least that's how I interpret it. Yeah, Harrison Burton into the playoffs. That was a really big deal. I know we do our Monday picks at the end, but let's make an early Monday pick, and let's make our Xfinity Series bracket. All right, so everyone, this is the Xfinity Series playoff I gotta make sure it's in frame here. Oh, look at that. Perfect. This is your Xfinity Series playoff grid. I want to hear your Final Four and your Xfinity Series champion. So, Zilisch has a ton of points. Justin Allgaier has a ton of points. But then after that, I think it's a pretty even matchup. If I come over here to my second screen, look up the points. I can read out the points as you guys make your decisions. Connor Zilisch has 64. Allgaier has 35, and then it's a huge drop-off. 16 for Sam Mayer, 13 for Jesse Love, 13 for Brandon Jones, 9 for Sammy Smith, 6 for Nick Sanchez, 5 for Taylor Gray, 5 for Carson Kvapil, 3 for Sheldon Creed, 2 for Harrison Burton, and 0 for Austin Hill because of his tactics, I guess we'll call them. Final Four, Xfinity. Let's hear them. I am going to go... Okay, so let's just get the easy ones out of the way. I'm going to go round by round here. If you want to go round by round in the comments, feel free. I'm going to go Zilisch, Allgaier, Mayer, Love. Wow, it gets really tough after that. I'll put Sanchez through. I'll put Smith through. I'll put Kvapil through. I'll put Hill through. So my first 4 out are Harrison Burton, Sheldon Creed, Taylor Gray, Sammy Smith. Those are my first 4 out. Final 4, I'll go Zilisch, Allgaier. Wait, what are the tracks? Yeah, Zilisch, Allgaier. I love a good irony story, so I'll go Austin Hill. Talladega's in there too. So if Austin Hill gets out of this round, he's probably in the Final Four. So I'll go Zilisch, Allgaier, Hill, Jesse Love. I'll go 2 RCRs, 2 JRMs. And then my champion, I'm going to go with my preseason pick, Allgaier, to go back-to-back. He's going to do what Joseph Newgarden did at the Indy 500. Go so long without winning one and then go back-to-back. Pastel Ninja K says the Final Four will be Allgaier, Zilisch, Love, and Brandon Jones. And then the 7 is pick. All right, good pick. Born Again Breyer says round of 12 exits will be Hill, Mayer, Taylor Gray, and Sanchez. The Final Four will be Zilisch, Allgaier, Creed, and Brandon Jones. We have 2 Brandon Jones Final Four picks. Born Again Breyer picked Sheldon Creed to win. Just a Daniel Hemrick story. No wins, known for not winning, and wins a championship for the first win. John is going to say Allgaier, Zilisch, Mayer, and Austin Hill. Nice. Who's your champion, though, John? Jamie is going to say Love, Zilisch, Jones, and Allgaier. A lot of people putting Brandon Jones in the Final Four. A lot of people. I'm aware that Austin Hill has no playoff points. But straight up, at Bristol, Kansas, and the Roval, he should outperform Burton. He should outperform Creed. I would say he should outperform everyone up to here. Jesse Love in this first round will probably outperform him. Or not even outperform, just outpoint him because he has that advantage. I will say, I don't know how much Eric Almirola has been thinking about this since the incident. But Eric Almirola is on the entry list this week. Maybe he's been saving his revenge, his payback for the playoffs where it really hurts him. Just something to keep your eye. If those two get close to each other on Friday night at Bristol, you never know. You never know. Anywho. Yeah. Taylor Gray, Martinsville Redemption. Ooh, I didn't think about that. I'm sticking with my picks, though. John also has Allgaier as the champion. In between the lanes says Zilisch, Gray, Creed, Hill. Out of nowhere, Zilisch is the champion. David says Zilisch, Allgaier, Mayer, and Burton as his bold pick. Brock says Zilisch, Allgaier, Smith, and Hill. Ooh, oh, I thought Chandler Smith was still in this. I was about to say which Smith. That's awkward. I love the playoffs says Zilisch, Allgaier, Burton, Jones. Marty, we're not quite to race picks yet. We're only making Xfinity playoff picks as of now. I'm about to move off of this so people don't think we're doing Monday picks because we're not quite there yet. That's what I'm thinking in between the lanes. I'm thinking that Austin Hill has some sneaky playoff run and makes the Final Four. Could you imagine if he wins the championship, loses all of his playoff points, loses all of his playoff points because he intentionally wrecks the guy, gets all this flack, gets all this pushback, everyone yells at him, and then all of a sudden he goes and he wins the championship. That'd be quite funny. Anyways, we're moving off of the Xfinity playoffs. Oh, fantasy. Now we can go to that later. Actually, let's do it now. Fantasy! Oh, guess who's back, baby? Guess who is back? After a week off, after 6 straight top 10s and having a horrid race at Darlington, it's a podium. That's right. Yeah, I guarantee you I'm still 14th. No, I actually fell out of 14th in the points. I probably came back to 14th. I'm just going to sit in 14th the rest of the year. Zerkman95. Congratulations on your St. Louis / Gateway / Worldwide Technology victory. Dunkin' Donuts, second podium for me. RT Racing, 0 Apex. Expat _ Kiwi _ Mike _ Wallace with the top 5. Klaus Van Gissenbergen, Dan the Jets fan, Oscar Dave, Tyler Hernandez, 6. I guess that's your top 10 right there because there was a tie for 9th place. Let's go to the league standings. League standings. I am back in 14th. Lovely. Great. Dunkin' Donuts has actually expanded out a little bit of a lead here. So Dunkin' Donuts here with 54-33 has now over a 100-point lead over Klaus Van Gissenbergen, trying to wrap up the first ever title in Dunkin' Donuts' career. Zerkman95 is kind of fallen out of the race, now 300 points out. Dan the Jets fan, our defending champion, is going to need a miracle run here in the last 8 weeks. Expat _ Kiwi _ Mike _ Wallace, who made a heck of a run in the midseason, fell off for a bit. Looks like it is going to be a top 5, probably. RT Racing is trying to make a little run for the top 5. Aussie Matt, Fantastic Priest, Matt Smith 53, Tyler Hernandez 6 is our top 10. Then we have Micah MLB 15, 0 Apex Hell on Wheels 24, who I am only 20 points behind. Good to know. 28 points ahead of Crackler. Oscar Dave, Dr. Zero, David Jerry 24 fan, Jamie, who is the lifelong Logano fan, Knee, Sportswagon, Tritech, Supercar, Nut, Space Wrangler Racing, JTF 526, Rebutted, and all these people who have not made their entries. So, yeah, there's your fantasy standings. What's with the missing 22 place in the league standings? If you're talking about these guys at the bottom, I don't know why they haven't made. I could just kick them out, but it inflates this number and makes it feel more competitive to me. So I haven't quite done it yet, but I guess it's technically never too late to make a bracket if you want. So go crazy. Yeah. Yeah, my playoff bracket, I had Alex Bowman in the Elite 8 because I thought Kansas was a good track for him. Yeah, it's not going according to plan, so that sucks. Jamie, I feel that. I'm not having a great fantasy. I mean, I guess I'm doing better than you. No offense. But no, it's not been a great season for me either. I'm doing fantastic in the 36 for 36. Look at this. 4,000th. Overall, this is like out of everyone. I had Logano this week who got me a great chunk of points. Jones last week who got me a great chunk of points. Killing it here. So, yeah. There you go. All right. I think that's it for fantasy, though. We'll get to this in a minute. Pastel Ninja K, you probably don't feel too great about that right now. Yeah, 15 points normally isn't like a huge deficit. Like if it was, let me think. If it was like, okay, let's just go to the standings and start listing names. That's the only way I know how to do this. If it was Denny Hamlin 15 points behind, that's easy for him to make up. Anyone through here, really. Ross Chastain, like he could make up a few stage points and probably outposition someone by 7 or 8 points. So, possible. But the problem for SVG is, it's Bristol. Guys, let's go over to the statistics here. Shane Van Gisbergen at Bristol in the spring. Started 36th, finished 38th, 1 point, and I think he finished like 190 something laps down. Like, you know what? We're gonna go into the SVG recap right now. Mark it. How many minutes are we into this thing? 37 minutes in. All right, so this is the SVG recap. I did not get a chance to fully watch the race recap, the onboard race that he did because I've been prepping to go to Bristol. I'm going to Bristol for this upcoming week. So hopefully that's a good enough excuse for how unthorough this SVG recap is. We're currently in the middle of the live stream. We're looking at SVG season statistics. You may be wondering why. Well, the reason why is because if we come over to here, he finished 25th. If we come to the standings, Bristol is the cutoff race. So if you do not know how these playoffs work, you make the playoffs, you have your bonus points. SVG, I think, had 22 bonus points. In every 3 races, the bottom 4 drivers and points get eliminated. Well, currently, Shane Van Gisbergen is one of those bottom 4. He is 15 points out of the playoffs, or out of advancing. So, the reason 15 points is not, like, impossible, but for Shane Van Gisbergen, this is a very tall task. So, Gateway was a track that he had never been to. A track he had never stepped foot on. You know, usually when we look at the tracks that SVG goes to, usually it's like the first time he's been there in Cup, but he's been there in Xfinity, so he at least has laps on there. Gateway was not the case. Gateway, no, he never touched it in Xfinity, never touched it in trucks, never touched it in anything. In fact, I'm looking up the stats on Gateway now. So this track, it's an egg-shaped oval, so it's similarly shaped to Darlington. The only difference is the banking, and I think the track length is different as well. It's 1.25 miles, so yeah, the track length is different, which is just over 2 kilometers, 2.01 kilometers. And then it's a very flat track. So turns 1 and 2 are 11 degrees, and turns 3 and 4 are 9 degrees. It's only been in NASCAR for 4 years, or the Cup Series, I should specify, for 4 years. But yeah, looking at this first round of the playoffs, Gateway, a track he's never been to, and Bristol, a track, which is why we were on this page earlier, this is why we were concerned, or you should have been concerned about SVG's first round of the playoffs. Started 36th, finished 38th, and there was a crash somewhere in there. So long story short, he's minus 15, which is not impossible to make up. Like if Austin Cindric goes out there and crashes in stage 1, you got to outpoint Austin Dillon by 5. But if like Austin Dillon and Austin Cindric wreck each other, then all SVG has to do is get a top 20 and he's advanced. The problem is that's a lot of hope. It's going to be tough for him to make up 15 points if these two do what they're expected to do. Shane Van Gisbergen has not scored a single stage point on a traditional oval. He came really close in stage 1 on Sunday when they made a strategy call to take 2 tires, get themselves some track position, and at least try to get some stage points. Ultimately, they fell short. They spun out on Sunday. They had a speeding penalty on Sunday. Like, nothing went their way. They had a decent qualifying session. Qualified 18th. Outside of that, not a lot to be excited about at Gateway, considering the situation of the playoffs, of having to get points. But ultimately, there was an incident. In fact, the SVG has a tweet on it in which he said, we were too tight in traffic, eventually got on the other side of it, but made a mistake and spun. We were probably a 15th place car, but then detuned it a little bit and ended up P25. A little frustrating, but it's kind of where we're at onto Bristol. So, long story short, I just now noticed the reflection in the picture. That's fancy. Long story short, Shane Van Gisbergen is not in a great position to advance. Now, if somehow, some way he makes up those 15 points and advances, there's a road course in the next round. In that case, just put him in the round of 8. But Shane Van Gisbergen, it's not looking great for his advancement right now. So, yeah, that was the very condensed version, I guess. Thanks for watching. I'll be at Bristol, so hopefully I can get you some better content there. Okay. As I said, that was really, really short. Shorter than usual. Let's see. Yeah, no, it was a pretty... It wasn't even like they were slow. Like Bristol, Marty, like at Bristol, they were slow. SVG didn't drive great. He crashed it. Like Bristol was the mix of the car was slow, he was slow, and he made a mistake. Gateway, they had some decent pace. They qualified 18th. That's a good result. He's gotten better at the ovals. He's starting to figure it out. And when they had the track position, they could hold their own in a sense. Like he restarted that restart at the end of stage 1, like 10th. He ends up finishing at 12th. He was driving really aggressively, like trying his best to hold people off for that stage point. Ultimately, he fell short, but it's better than Bristol. But yeah, it's not looking good for him. Yeah, Pastel Ninja K, I don't think anyone should have anticipated him lighting the world on fire, going out and scoring a bunch of top 10s, top 5s on the ovals. I would have thought I think the biggest shock would be that he still does not have an oval top 10 in the Cup Series. I thought he would have had one by then, but ultimately, no, he does not. He's improved a lot, but that first, if we come over here, from Daytona to Talladega, it was really bad. The 20th at Darlington was kind of random. After that, as I said, they picked it up. Top 20 at Kansas, top 15 at Charlotte, top 20 at Michigan. Like, we can go and pick a few of these results, but they just started so bad this year that, rough start. I see what you're saying, Born Again Briar, but you see, the problem is, like, Bell's plus 32. Austin Dillon, if he was up in the top 5 for both stages and made, like, 15 points up and cut it down to 17 and Bell was, like, out of the race, then, yeah, all you got to do is beat him by 17 spots, but let's be realistic. Austin Dillon's not going to score that many stage points, and he's going to have to probably beat him by 32 positions, which means Austin Dillon in the top 5 and Christopher Bell finishing dead last. Like, that's not going to happen. And even with like an Elliott's plus 28. So Austin Dillon would need a top 10, and then Elliott finishing dead last. Now, from Logano down, it gets a little bit more simplified, because if Austin Dillon scores a top 15, top 20 for Cindric, like, it gets a little bit better. So if we were to judge, I think we did this Sunday night a bit, but if we were to judge how everyone feels, Larson and Bubba are in. Like, there's no way they miss. No way they miss it. I would honestly say the same for Blaney. Byron, there's no way. Reddick's pretty bad at Bristol. I'm just going to say it how it is, but he's plus 37. So I don't see a way that he misses. Bell's plus 32. It would take a catastrophe. Same story for Elliott. Logano is where it gets a little bit complicated because if Dillon starts to score stage points, then that's where it gets a little bit shaky. But honestly, I think Logano's fine. As long as Logano and Chastain finish the race, as long as they don't have a mechanical failure, as long as they don't have a crash, as long as they don't get pinned like 2 laps down during a green flag pit cycle, which we've had to see at Bristol the last couple times, unfortunately, they're going to be fine. Don't swing for the fences. Just try to get a base hit. Try to get walked. Don't even try to get a base hit. Just don't swing. Just hope that they throw 4 balls at you and you're just able to walk to first base without doing anything. Cindric does have to stress. I'm going to be brutally honest. I think they should fight for stage points. Like, if there is a late stage caution and tire wear is not happening, there is no reason they should not stay out. They should stay out at the end of a stage. And if they end up tanking and only getting 1 stage point, it was a success. Now, if they fall out of the points, that's a problem. But if they are able to get a caution with 12 laps to go at Bristol, they restart with 6 laps to go, and they're able to hold on for 5 points over Austin Dillon, that is huge, huge, huge. So that if they do have a late race incident, instead of 11 positions, it's 16 positions. So fight for stage points however you can. Same thing for Austin Dillon. Literally the same thing. I guess the same thing for SVG. If he's somehow able to outstage point these two, anything can happen, but nothing has happened in the last 2 Bristol races. I know they have that new right side tire, but I'm going to be pessimistic. I do trust Goodyear. Goodyear has cooked with some really good tires over the years, but the last 2 Bristol races have been pretty rough, so I'm not going to get too excited. But if we have a 10 out of 10 race, I'm going to be excited. Yeah, Cloudy 341 Blade. Yeah, it's crazy. Bubba's just really, let's go to his statistical profile here. So Bubba, really since the Indy win, because, you look at early in the year, some 20s are in there, but they had some good finishes here and here, and, top 10s, a couple top 5s, they had this rough stretch here. But ever since this rough stretch here, they had the Daytona crash, they had the Richmond, the wheel fell off, but they led 100 and something laps, they got a playoff point, win at Indy, top 10 here, 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 like, since Dover, this 23 team has really put it together. Wasn't that the first race they were an open team? So really, since they became an open team, the 23 team has been on fire. Top 10s, top 5s, won a race, leading laps, winning stages. Like, hey, you might not be wrong, Cloudy 341 Blade. Bubba can make a run to the Final 4. Could you imagine a world where the battle for the championship is Bubba Wallace versus Denny Hamlin? Question number 1. What phantom yellow happens when those two are like 10 seconds clear? 11.23 seconds clear of the field. What phantom caution does NASCAR come up with to lose those two the championship because of the ongoing lawsuit? And question number 2, the fan base, the portion of the fan base that hates Bubba Wallace and Denny Hamlin, who do they root for? Do they root for Denny or do they root for Bubba? Oh, man. Oh, now that I say it, I really hope it comes down to that. Because if there is a phantom caution at the end of that race, there is going to be I'm I love a good conspiracy theory, and that would immediately jump to the top of my list. I really hope that happens now. I really hope it comes down to Bubba and Hamlin for the championship. Because, oh my goodness, that would be so funny. Arguably the funniest championship battle in NASCAR history, I would say. Yeah, Legacy Motor Club. They've been killing it. I mean, the double top 5 last week at Darlington. John Hunter, I mean, remember when John Hunter had like a top 10 streak earlier in the year? All right, more statistical profiles here. That was loud. John Hunter, Nemechek, they're both top 25 in points. Last year, they were 28th or worse in the points, both of them. Well, now they're both top 25, which is a huge improvement. John Hunter has 8 top 10s, which is extremely impressive. Remember, top 5 at Daytona. Jimmy Johnson had a top 5 at Daytona. The top 10 at Texas. The top 10 at Kansas. I forgot about that streak. The top 10 at Mexico. Top 10 at Pocono. And then every time they get top 10s, it seems like they have a streak. A top 10 streak here. Top 10 streak here. Top 10 streak here. And it's been all very different tracks. Gateway, Darlington, Texas, Pocono, a road course in there, a super speedway. It's a really good sign for Legacy Motor Club. And Eric Jones. Now, I think we can say we all know that he's really good at Darlington. So a third is almost not shocking to us. But top 5 at Daytona, a super speedway. Top 5 at Atlanta, another super speedway. A top 10 at Nashville. Top 5 at Texas. Legacy's really been killing it this year. They really have. So 4 top 5s for Jones, 8 top 10s for Nemechek. Legacy's been killing it this year. 23rd and 24th isn't the sexiest. It isn't the most, explosive of results in terms of the points, but it's about improvement. It's about just kind of stepping up year by year. Legacy's really been making some noise as of late, so we'll see how they kind of continue that momentum into next year. The Toyota move, I think, is really suiting them right now. So we'll see how they can continue to carry that on. Let's see who's winning the football game. Oh, the Bears are up 10-6. It's the same gap as when I looked up before. All right. So, is anyone ready for Monday picks, or is it too soon to do Monday picks? Honestly, Pastel Ninja K, I feel the same way. I really if NASCAR's going to announce, because everyone hates this format, they're going to announce 2 weeks before that the format is changing. And then in the final year of the format that everyone, or a good chunk of people hate, they're going to just make it even more of a joke, and it's going to die with no dignity, and they're going to disqualify Denny or Bubba or Reddick if they win the championship. All right, Monday picks. Entry list time. We got a triple header at Bristol. I'm excited. I'm really excited. Really, really excited. Brent Cruz is in the 1 truck. I, at the young age of 125, in the 02 truck. Clayton Green in the 2 truck. Corey Day in the 7 truck. Dawson Sutton's in the 26. Mason Maggio's in the 33 because Frankie Muniz is still out with an injury. Parker Kligerman's in the field this week. That's exciting. Corey LaJoie is listed twice. Double the Corey LaJoie. Huh. I think I got to screenshot that. Just screenshot. Yep. Everyone make your truck picks. Truck picks. Nash Truck Night in America. Pastel Ninja K says Heim time. David says Heim. Born Again Briar says Grant Enfinger. I love the playoffs says Spencer Boyd. A Joke's on You LOL says Corey Day. Jamie says Heim. Zero Apex says Parker. In Between the Lanes says Heim time. Yahoo. Marty's going to go with Raja. I think he led a bunch of laps here in the spring. Oh, yeah. Heim is sponsored by Yahoo this week. That's interesting. Trucks. FRM was really good here in the spring. Lane Riggs is my championship pick, so I'm going to go with Lane Riggs. Lane Riggs for the win. Xfinity time. First race of the Xfinity championship fight playoff thingamawatchit. Stephen Parsons in the 5. Carson Ware in the 07. Brendan Queen is going to be in the number 11 car. Eric Almirola's in the 19. Austin Hill, beware. I'm looking for other notable entries. Josh Williams in the 45. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Jamie's going to go with Jesse Love. In Between the Lanes is going to go with Austin Hill. So RCR so far is our pick. Marty is going to go with Eric Almirola. Could you imagine Eric Almirola dumps Austin Hill for the win? David says Justin Allgaier and Harrison Burton. Well, that's a random combo. Pastel Ninja K says the 19 of Eric Almirola. No one's going to pick the guy that's won 7 of the last 8. Anti-Waffles is picking Waffles. It's ironic. Born Again Briar's going to go with William Sawalich. Could you imagine? Sawalich has the worst start to the year you can possibly have. Finally picks it up in July. Gets a few top 10s, a few top 5s, and wins 1 week too late. That would be quite the irony there. I think Allgaier was really good in the spring here. It was him versus Larson the entire day. I'm going to go with Allgaier. Because why not? Now for the Cup Series, the Bristol Night Race. One of our biggest races of the season. Cutoff races. First thing, we're not going to make a race pick yet. Don't make your race picks yet. Who are going to be the 4 drivers eliminated from the playoffs in the Cup Series? Who are the 4 eliminated? Here's your points. Can you see them? Oh, you can't see them. Here's the bottom 4 currently. Let's see how far I can scroll. I can do about that. Who gets eliminated? Let's hear them. Your 4 eliminations. Go back offline. Says first 4 elimination is SVG, Bowman, Barry, and Elliott. Pastel Ninja K says SVG, Dillon, Barry, and Bowman. Jamie says SVG, Dillon, Barry, and Bowman. Cameron says Barry, Bowman, Dillon, Cindric. Okay, so that would imply that SVG jumps in. David says Bowman, SVG, Reddick, and Logano. Oh my goodness. So that means Dillon and Barry. So does that mean Barry? That would mean Barry wins. So David's Monday pick is Barry to win. In Between the Lanes says Cindric, Dillon, SVG, Barry. Born Again Briar says SVG, Barry, Bowman, and Logano. Zero Apex says Barry, Bowman, Dillon, Cindric. Marty says Cindric, Bowman, Barry, Dillon. I just don't see change. I don't think Barry wins. I don't think Bowman wins. I don't think SVG can make up the points. And I don't think Dillon can make up the points. Those are my 4 eliminations. They kind of made it easy on us this year. Watch Cindric have a lap 1 issue or something, and SVG and Dylan just run with like 5 positions apart the entire night. That would be ironic. But anyways, let's go through the entry list. Everyone look for your favorite driver. If you are a Austin Cindric fan, Discount Tire is on the car this week. If you're a Kyle Busch fan, Lucas Oil is on the car this week. If you're a Denny Hamlin fan, King's Hawaiian is on the car. If you are a Bubba Wallace fan, Robin Hood, that bright green, is going to be on the car. First notable entry, Austin Hill will be in the Cup Series race. Long John Silver's on the 38 car. Pinnacle on the 45 car. Let's see here. Corey Heim is also going to be in this field. He's also going to be in a Robin Hood car. SVG running the Wendy's Breakfast Baconator. Don't know what that car is going to look like yet. Chad Fincham's in the 66. Did I miss any other notable entries? I don't think so. But let's hear your Cup Series picks. Who is going to win the Cup Series race at Bristol? So David's going with Josh Berry. That's our first kind of bold one. In between the lanes says either Hamlin or C. Bell. Jamie says Corey Heim. So out of nowhere. Marty is going to say Bubba. Okay. Pastel Ninja K, Chris Buescher. John is going to go with Larson. He's won the last 2. Brock says old Captain Hook is racing. Anything can happen. Oh, boy. Jamie's going to go with Denny. Born Again Briar, maybe. I don't know. It's been a few minutes since we read them off. Zero Apex is going to say Ryan Blaney. Thanks for being here, Zero Apex. Born Again Briar says Ryan Preece. Heim wins.
Jamie, I don't think rain's in the forecast. Last I checked. Hold on.
Looking up weather here. Bristol, Tennessee. Daily. Ooh, it's going to be in the 50s at night. Ooh.
I don't think that's quite hoodie weather, but I'll bring it just in case. There's a 6% chance of rain, Jamie.
Yeah, Jamie, I don't see that happening. So good luck with that. Cameron says win number 60 for the 11 of Denny Hamlin. Excuse me. Anyone else? Anyone else got a Monday pick? No? I'm feeling that too, Cameron. I think Denny Hamlin wins back-to-back races, wins his 6th win of the season. Has had to look at Kyle Larson's rear bumper the last couple of times we've had to go to Bristol. Well, this time I think he gets ahead. So, yeah, I don't know if we're going to get crazy tire wear. I know they changed the right sides up. I hope we do. I hope it doesn't end up like a 2008 Indianapolis. I hope it doesn't end up like a 2022 Texas. But if it's another 2024 spring Bristol race, I am all for it. Plus, that would make the elimination, the cutoff line story so exciting. So, yeah, because Dylan and SVG are great at managing their tires. So, I think that can make things spicy. So, yeah. Thanks for watching. I know we went short tonight, but I got to leave for Bristol tomorrow. So, really excited to go back. We'll see what I'm able to do in terms of my access and whatnot. But really excited for it. Really looking forward to being back at a track. It'll be 2 and 3 weeks, which is really exciting. So, yeah, we got a cutoff race. Should be fun. Should be exciting. Thank you guys for being here, and we'll see you next Monday. Since this is a Saturday night race, we will indeed be back right here in this exact spot next Monday.